The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Marcus Aurelius. Some truths hit like a punch to the gut, and here's one of them. The thing that truly destroys a narcissist isn't anger, revenge, or drama. It's your calm, your peace, your silence, your indifference. That's what tortures them the most, when they realize they no longer live rent-free in your mind. Before we dive in, do yourself a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. This one's going to sting, but not for you, for them. Hey folks, imagine this. You're a fortress, stone walls, iron gates, weathered but unmoved. A narcissist comes along like a storm, loud, dramatic, threatening. But you don't flinch, you don't react, you just stand. That silence, that strength, it echoes louder than any shout. It drives them mad, because they're not built to handle someone who doesn't beg for approval, who doesn't play the game. They told you that being quiet meant weakness. They told you that walking away meant losing. But my friends, they lied. Detachment isn't giving up, it's leveling up. So stay with me, because we're about to walk through 7 brutal, beautiful ways to torture the narcissist without ever raising your voice. Type this in the comments. I choose calm. Press like, subscribe, and let's go. Number 1, give them no reaction, starve their ego. To be even-minded is the greatest virtue. It messes with their head, doesn't it? When you don't react, when you don't flinch, scream, defend, or even blink. See, narcissists feed on your fire, your confusion, your need to explain yourself, your emotional outbursts. That's their breakfast. Your tears are their morning coffee. But what happens when you stop giving them that meal? What happens when you give them nothing? Picture this. They come at you like a mosquito buzzing near your ear, irritating, constant, craving your attention. But instead of swatting wildly at it, you just sit still, quiet, focused. That mosquito suddenly realizes you're not dinner tonight. That buzzing becomes desperate, annoyed, panicked. You've robbed it of power. That's exactly what it feels like to a narcissist when you choose not to react. You starve their ego. You take away their oxygen. But maybe you're wondering, what if they get worse? Or, doesn't staying quiet make me weak? My friends, that's what they want you to believe. They want you trapped in the loop. React, defend, apologize, repeat. That cycle feeds their illusion of control. But Stoicism teaches us a brutal kind of freedom. You are not required to attend every emotional battle you're invited to. Giving no reaction is not avoidance. It's war in disguise, silent war, a power move only the truly disciplined can pull off. Narcissists don't know how to deal with indifference. It's a language they were never taught. It drives them mad because they don't know what you're thinking, feeling, or planning. They're no longer the center of your emotional universe, and that burns deep. It's not easy, especially when they press your buttons like they designed the damn panel. You'll feel the urge to respond, to set the record straight, to prove your side. But remember, every time you do, you just hand them another string to pull. Why give them that power? Why give them a seat at your peace? Stoicism isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming clear. You are not cold. You are calm. You are not passive. You are precise. You are not weak. You are choosing a higher path, one that isn't ruled by their chaos, but by your control. This is what scares them most. A version of you they can't manipulate. A version that sees through the smoke. That doesn't bite the bait. That refuses to dance to their tune. They don't want your silence because in your silence they start to see the mirror, and in it, their powerlessness. That's torture, my friend, and it's beautiful. So, write this in the comments. I owe them no reaction. Show yourself. Show them. Show the world around you that you've upgraded, that you've built a fortress of calm no storm can breach. Because what's coming next, it's even more brutal, more freeing. Stay with me. Number 2, withdraw validation. Let silence speak. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Epictetus. Validation, that's their drug, the hit they chase every day. Your praise, your attention, even your frustration, it's all fuel to their fire. They need it like a leech needs blood. But what happens when you stop feeding them, when you stop clapping for their act, when your silence becomes louder than applause? That's when the performance falls apart. Imagine a stage. The spotlight is hot. They step out, expecting a standing ovation, expecting you to cheer, to nod, to give that look of admiration that says, "You're right, you're special, you're everything." But this time, the crowd is empty, the seats are silent, no reaction, no validation, just emptiness. That silence, it echoes, it haunts, because without your validation, their identity starts to crack. But let's be honest, it's not easy to stop. Maybe you're used to being the fixer, the peacekeeper, the one who smooths things over. You think, if I just stay calm, maybe they'll change, or if I praise them, they won't explode. That's not peace, my friend. That's emotional negotiation with someone who profits off your silence, and it's time to shut the shop down. You were conditioned to believe your worth came from pleasing others, that love had to be earned, that if you didn't clap, they'd walk away. But what Stoicism teaches us is that you owe no one your peace. You don't owe validation to someone who weaponizes your kindness. You're not cruel for stepping back, you're courageous. Withdrawing validation doesn't mean being rude or cold. It means choosing truth over performance. It means you don't lie to protect their ego anymore. You don't fake laughter. You don't nod in agreement just to keep the mood light. You hold your ground. You let silence speak for you. And in that silence, a narcissist hears everything they fear. Your independence, your clarity, your evolution. They'll notice. Oh, they'll notice. They'll start testing you, trying to provoke a response, complimenting you out of nowhere, acting like the person you first met. That's not change. It's bait. Don't bite. Let the silence stretch. Let them feel the space you've carved where your old validation used to live. It's not empty. It's sacred. This silence, it's not just the absence of words. It's the presence of power. A calm that screams, "I no longer need to prove anything to you." That kind of detachment isn't passive. It's purposeful. It's stoic. It's strong. Write this in the comments. My silence is power. Let it be your mantra. Let it be your boundary. Number 3, redefine the narrative. Stop playing the role. You've been assigned a role in their play. The power lies in walking off the stage. Here's the part they never want you to realize. They didn't just manipulate situations, they rewrote your character. In their script, you were the one who always apologized, the one who explained, the one who stayed. And over time, without even knowing it, you started playing the part, like an actor stuck in a role he never auditioned for. But let me tell you something, my friend. This is not their story anymore. Imagine waking up in the middle of a movie, sitting in the front row and realizing that the whole plot has been twisted. You're not the villain. You're not the sidekick. You're not the fool. You're the one who's been lied to. And the second you see it, you stop clapping. You stop showing up to rehearsals. You tear up the script and you walk off that damn stage. This moment is terrifying. Because when you stop playing the role, the narcissist panics. Why? Because their illusion starts to crumble. They don't just lose control over you, they lose the story that made them feel powerful, and in its place, a blank page, one they can't write on anymore, one that belongs to you. You might hear thoughts whispering, "But if I change, they'll get upset. They'll make me look like the bad guy. And maybe they will, but that's okay. Stoicism teaches us not to obsess over image, but over integrity. The truth isn't always popular, but it's always powerful. You don't need to justify your peace. You don't need to explain your growth. You don't need their permission to rewrite the rules. This is your life, not their theater. When you redefine the narrative, you don't become heartless. You become honest. And that honesty, it's the earthquake that breaks their foundation. You're no longer the one who stays quiet to keep the peace. You're the one who walks away to find it. That's the beauty of breaking free. You start asking questions you were never allowed to ask. What do I want? Who am I without their opinion? What does freedom look like? And the answers, they terrify the narcissist, because they point to a version of you that's no longer available for manipulation. This is your turning point. You don't owe them a final scene, just a closed door. So write this in the comments. I'm writing my story. Hit that like button. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And stay close, because we're just getting started. Number 4, master detachment. Don't need their applause. If you live for their approval, you'll die by their rejection. Here's a brutal truth. As long as you crave their approval, you're still on their leash. And they know it. That's why they dangle it like a prize, just out of reach. One day they adore you. The next, they discard you. It's not love, it's control. And the second you stop needing their applause, that control slips right through their fingers. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. Imagine standing in a storm, wind howling, rain lashing your skin, and you don't run, you don't flinch, you just stand there, grounded, calm, because inside the storm has already passed. That's detachment. That's the power of not reacting to their praise or their poison. You become untouchable. But let's not sugarcoat it. This is hard, especially when you've built your worth around someone who made you feel like you were only good enough when they said so. When they looked at you and said, "Now you matter." That kind of addiction runs deep. But Stoicism teaches us to tear it out at the root. Because needing validation from a broken source only keeps you broken. The moment you stop seeking their applause, they panic. Not because you've become distant, but because you've become independent. And that's a nightmare for someone who relies on being the sun in your emotional sky. Now you're shining on your own, quiet, bright, free. It will feel strange at first. You'll question yourself. You'll feel the silence where their approval used to echo. But that silence, that's space. Space to grow, to rebuild, to define yourself on your own terms. Not for applause, not for attention, but because you chose it. Detachment isn't giving up on connection. It's giving up on needing it from someone who only gave it when it benefited them. You don't need their claps. You don't need their nods. You are not a performer anymore. Write this in the comments. I don't need their praise. Let it echo. Let it mean something. Because what's coming next, it hits even deeper. Number 5, challenge their illusions with subtle truth. Nothing is more threatening to a lie than a quiet question. Narcissists build their world like a house of mirrors, distorted, shiny, impressive on the surface. They rely on illusion, on performance, on the belief that you'll never look too closely. And for a while, maybe you didn't. Maybe you nodded, smiled, played along, because challenging the story felt dangerous. But now you're waking up. Now you're starting to ask the kinds of questions that make their whole illusion shake. You don't have to scream, argue, or expose them publicly. You just have to observe. Just be present. Just ask calmly, how did you come to that conclusion? Or, interesting, Why do you think that always happens to you? These aren't attacks, they're mirrors. And narcissists, they hate mirrors that don't flatter, because subtle truth cuts deeper than any insult. It's surgical, clean, impossible to defend against without revealing the lie. They thrive in environments where no one questions them, where their fantasy is treated like fact. But once you stop playing along, once you introduce even a whisper of doubt, the cracks begin to form. And here's the beauty: you don't have to press, you don't have to force, just plant the seed and let time do the rest. Because illusion can only live in unexamined space. But you have to be careful. This isn't about confronting them to win. This isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming your mental clarity. It's about refusing to live inside someone else's fiction. Stoicism reminds us, don't engage in battles that cost your peace. Pick truth, but pick wise truth. Pick questions that free your mind, not ignite pointless wars. This is power, true power, the kind that doesn't need a stage or an audience, the kind that dismantles delusion without breaking a sweat. And trust me, they'll feel it. They'll feel your questions long after you've asked them, not because they answered them, but because deep down they couldn't. You're not trying to change them. You're just choosing not to let their fantasy govern your reality anymore. That alone is enough to shake their foundation. That alone is enough to drive them mad, because the moment you stop feeding their delusion, you become immune to their manipulation. Write this in the comments. I see through the act. That's all it takes. One clear vision, one quiet truth, one refusal to pretend. That's how illusions die, not with a shout, but with a whisper. Number 6, refuse to compete. Exit their arena. You win the war the moment you stop showing up to their battlefield. Unknown. Narcissists are addicted to competition. They live for comparison, conflict, and chaos. They want you chasing their approval, proving your worth, trying to stay one step ahead. To them, life is a game, and the only way they feel important is if someone else is losing. But here's the twist they can't handle. When you stop playing, they lose everything. You were never meant to be in their arena. That place was designed to keep you spinning. They bait you into proving yourself. They flex success, show off status, fake achievements. Not because they want to inspire you, but because they want to keep you doubting yourself, to keep you dancing for their validation. They want to control the scoreboard. But Stoicism teaches us a different game, one where there is no scoreboard, no comparison, just personal growth, just peace. Imagine standing in a ring, gloves on, breath heavy, and they're throwing jabs. Not physical ones, but emotional hooks, insults masked as jokes, compliments with thorns. And you just drop your gloves. You step out of the ring. You don't fight. You leave. Not because you're weak, but because you realize you've got nothing to prove. This confuses them, infuriates them, because they've built their ego around being the main character in your life. And now you're not even watching the show. You're off building your own life, your own values, your own victories. Quietly, steadily, without needing to compare or be compared. They'll try to pull you back in, subtle digs. Oh, you've changed. Backhanded praise, social media games. They'll want you to react, to rise to the bait. But the most powerful move you can make, don't even flinch. Let their performance play to an empty crowd. Let their victories echo in an arena that no longer exists. This doesn't mean you stop striving. It means you stop striving for them. You don't have to prove your intelligence, success, or happiness to someone who measures worth in wins and losses. Your growth isn't a competition. It's a quiet revolution, the kind they'll never understand because they're too busy chasing trophies. You've become the piece they can't touch. Write this in the comments. I've left their game. That's the final play. Not revenge, not retaliation, just removal. Because when you stop competing, you stop losing. And when you stop losing, you start living for you. Number 7. Affirm your power, the final blow. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. This is where it ends. Not with a shout, not with a breakdown, not with begging them to understand, but with a quiet, unshakable truth. You were always enough. You just forgot. You handed over your power like loose change, piece by piece, every time you explained yourself, apologized for who you were, or tried to earn love that should have been freely given. But now you're done. Affirmation isn't weakness. It's your battle cry. It's the declaration that your value no longer lives in their hands. Narcissists survive off rewriting your identity, making you believe you're too much, not enough, impossible to love unless you fit their mold. But you're not clay. You're stone. You're carved from lessons, from pain, from survival. And stone doesn't bend. It stands. You don't need their closure. You don't need their recognition. You don't need one last conversation. The most savage thing you can do now is live well, heal loudly, love yourself in ways they never could. Because the final blow to the narcissist, it's realizing they never broke you. They only revealed what you still needed to rebuild. And now you're rebuilding stronger, wiser, colder maybe, but only where warmth was wasted. Look in the mirror and speak it into existence. I'm free. You're not reacting anymore. You're not waiting anymore. You're not available for manipulation, confusion, or emotional blackmail. You're available for peace, for purpose, for growth. You've walked through their storm and stepped into your own sunlight. And that glow, it's yours. They don't get to touch it. Yes, it took time. Yes, it hurt. But this ending is sacred because you didn't just survive the narcissist. You outgrew them. You rose above them. You saw through them. And now their absence feels like oxygen. Their silence feels like freedom. Their distance feels like peace. And that is the deepest torture of all. So here's your final move. Own it. Own your story. Own your peace. Own your strength. Say it out loud. Write it. Feel it in your bones. Drop this in the comments right now. I reclaim my power. Let it be your closing sentence. Let it be your new beginning. And if this journey hit you in the soul, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Let's wake more minds. Let's break more cycles. Let's keep growing, calmly, fiercely, silently. To wrap this up, remember this. True strength isn't in reacting, it's in rising. You've just walked through 7 powerful Stoic truths that not only protect your peace, but quietly dismantle the grip a narcissist once had over you. This isn't about revenge, it's about reclaiming your life, your mind, and your soul. The calm you build now will echo louder than any chaos they ever brought. So if this spoke to you, if it sparked something inside, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to join this journey of quiet, unshakable power.